Hi there, this is my channel, Jaru Walks. In the year 2024, I will embark on an epic walking journey across the United States. My plan is to walk 8,000 miles across the US 3 times, via the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail. In the hiking world, this is known as a calendar year Triple Crown, and has only been completed by a handful of people in history. I plan to post weekly updates along the way, so you can join me for the journey. Okay, this is going to be a pretty quick update for good reason. I've made it now 4 miles up that hill. I'm at the top of the hill from where I started this morning at camp with the tweaked knee. I arrived, it is, I don't know if you can see or not, but it's 12:25. I was moving at around, I think, just under 1 mile per hour, which for me is extremely slow. I normally move between 2 and 2.5 miles per hour. So I've been going now, I don't know how many days, like 7 days, and I've been operating on 2 power banks. I can't show you easily, but one power bank is dead. It's in my bag, and the other power bank, you can see the blue light, has 1 bar left on it. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can barely see it lit. So that's like maybe 75% of a phone charge. We'll see. And my phone currently, I can take a screenshot in a second, but it's at like 10%. So my plan is I'm going to charge my phone using whatever power is left on that power bank. I'm currently 30 miles from Hot Springs, which is where my next resupply is. The next hostel is that I want to hit. And basically moving at 1 mile per hour as of right now, that could take me now up to 3 days to get there because of this knee. And I have about 1.5 to 2 days worth of food. I think maybe I have 3 days of food, but I'm definitely going to have to ration back. And I'm not really going to be able to hike at night because I don't have power. I have 1 full charge on my headlamp right now. So yeah, it's just one of those situations where you never know kind of when you hit a tight spot, like when would you ever think you would really end up needing a compass? But the tweaked knee has just slowed me down. And so the choice is I could go back there and sit in a hostel for like 3 or 4 days, or I could push forward. And so to me, the right option feels to be to push forward, which I could go more into detail on that, but just to save my battery life, I'm not going to. But basically the plan is push forward. I'm going to monitor how fast I think that I'm hiking, and time it based off of my watch. So if I hike for 7 hours and I think I'm moving at 1.5 miles an hour or 1 mile an hour, I'll know roughly how far I am down the trail. And I actually have a lot of experience doing this from the Arizona Trail, so it was good preparation for a moment like this. So I'm not concerned right now, but it definitely is kind of a tight spot where I want to keep moving down trail. So and also not just I want to, I think I can do it in a manner that's fairly safe. So, but it still is kind of a tight spot. I would say it's a pretty tight spot for most people. So I think this might be my last update until I hit Hot Springs, because I have such limited battery life on my phone and I don't want to waste even another second of it. So I'm going to log out here and I don't know, we'll see how this goes, but I'll give an update at the end. So another update, my spare battery was able to get me like a 60% charge on my phone. And so I basically have left it turned off all day today and just navigated the trail using the white blazes. And then I figured out that if I keep my knee basically like perfectly straight, I'm able to hobble at like, I don't know, 1.8 miles per hour. So I was able to pick up gain back some distance today. Yeah, like the pain this morning, it really felt like if you've ever been to like a roller blade rink, you know, like roller skating, and then slipped, you know, as you're doing a turn and just like slam your elbow or your knee into the ground. Kind of like if I were to stand on my left foot and then just twist my body left and right like this, rotate it around that knee joint, that's where that kind of pain pops up. And I'm pretty sure that 2 nights ago, as I was hiking, the trail just got super iced over, and as you're putting your foot down, you don't have control over like your body so much. So like if you slip, your foot stays in place, whereas normally when you walk on grass or something, you could just pivot your foot, right? So then your new pivot point on your leg becomes your knee. And so I think I just slipped on it one too many times on that left knee. And then I tweaked some kind of tendon or something in there. And so it's definitely, it feels like it's inflamed. But it feels like if I don't inflame it any further, I can keep walking on it. So definitely made a lot slower progress today, but I'm still pushing along, and I think it just means I'm gonna have to put in more time on the trail. And I'm aware that to some people that probably sounds like crazy, but I just have a very specific goal in mind, and part of it is pushing through pain, but obviously not pushing myself to the point of further injury, and I'm walking that fine line right now. So anyway, I geographically do not know if I'm in North Carolina or Tennessee. I guess I could look that up later, but wow, look at this view. It's just, it looks like that on every direction. That's the trail that I'm going up. Figured I'd pause and record for a moment just to note how much stuff happens in between the shots that I present, right? So like I'm walking down this staircase. Is there a way to show it? I cannot tell if you can see that or not, but it's a staircase. It's hard to see because it's covered in snow and ice. And if you look at that step, it was just slippery ice and just slipped and fell without any control really, other than I thankfully had my trekking poles. Did not injure myself or anything, but it's like that actually happens fairly frequently, or near misses where I trip hard and I could have fallen, but then my trekking poles saved me. So first off, anyone who says trekking poles are pointless or something, they're not. They are like little fingers that are always touching the ground that help you keep your balance. And so when you're going long distances, it's not even really about going faster with the trekking poles, in my opinion, although they do help a little bit. The bigger thing is that they prevent injury. Calling it now. UFO spotted. So airplanes have typically red lights that blink. That has no blinking light on it. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it does. Okay. Everybody go back to what you're doing. Sorry about that. So we're looking at the inside of my shoe now. You see all those little dots, but there's one that sticks out that's different. You see that one right there? You may not be able to tell, but that is a stick that stabbed through the bottom of my shoe and came up about 1/2 inch. And so I kept feeling this thing poking in my foot. So I cleared my shoes out, put them back on, hiked another 1/2 mile, and it kept hurting. So I took them off again, pulled the sole out, and then I see a giant stick, at least what feels like a giant stick, just stabbed right through my shoe. So I'm trying to figure out right now how to get it out of there. That is a shelter. Oh wow, I just realized my headlamp is on. Filming myself. I hate this headlamp. The thing I hate about it is that it doesn't run on USB-C. Everything else on Earth runs on USB-C. So whenever I need to charge it, I have to look through all my cables to find the right cable. And if I ever drop that cable, no more headlamp. It's crazy that you charge $70 for a headlamp that runs on a charger from, like, how old is, it's like micro USB or whatever. It's like 6-year-old technology. Sorry. Yeah, I'm also kind of not in a good mood this morning, but I'm also in a good mood. But my phone has 20% charge remaining on it, so I'm going to keep this video short, and then I probably won't give another update until I hit Hot Springs. So first off, I'm 13 miles from Hot Springs, just left the shelter maybe half a mile back, and the thing I wanted to document is that this morning my knee still hurts. I learned yesterday kind of how to walk on it, and I know from experience yesterday morning that it takes me a little while to get the knee warmed up, but then once it warms up, it loosens up, and I'm able to move a lot faster than I am, like, as compared to when I just start out. And so this morning, though, the unfortunate thing is that I'm starting out on a steep downhill. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but it never looks as steep on camera, but it's a pretty steep downhill. And so you have less control over your balance and where your body moves, if that makes sense, where your feet go and how your body moves above them, which aggravates your knee. And so going downhill, as you're just making that next step down, you can feel sometimes how your foot is being pulled not the way you want it to go relative to the trail. And that's gravity, acting on your foot and on all of your weight over that foot, throwing you off balance. And then gravity is also trying to pull you downhill faster than you are able to walk while maintaining control. We would all run downhill if we could, right? But you run out of control. And so as you're doing that, you're using your knees to stabilize yourself. And so your body's forced to respond to gravity as you're going downhill. I know this is all obvious, but the consequence of that is as I'm trying to keep my knee straight, it just aggravates that knee. And so again, going back to what I was saying a couple of days ago, I don't really feel like I'm injuring myself further. I think if I just went willy-nilly crazy and I was just jumping all around, I could definitely further inflame my knee. I'm just walking really carefully now and keeping it straight so I don't injure it further. So really what I'm dealing with is I have to go slower, and therefore I have to walk longer. And there's just a lot more pain involved in every step. But it's not the kind of pain that leads to more injury. It's just the kind of pain where it's like, suck it up and walk through it, or don't and get off trail. And I'm the suck it up and walk through it person. So that's where I'm at. I'm a little fired up and a little pissed off, but I'm not. Like, there's nothing to be pissed off at, right? So it's just an emotion, you're just like, yeah, it's just annoying, but it's okay. So I should make it to town somewhere. I mean, it's so hard to like even gauge how long it's going to take me to get to town, because it's like, at what point does my knee loosen up? Because I have to go downhill for a mile, and then I have 1 mile where I'm going to go uphill. And you actually have a lot of body control as you're going uphill. And so I think on that uphill, I'm going to keep a consistent pace and hopefully warm my knee up. Because once I reach the top of that hill, it's all downhill all the way to Hot Springs. There's an owl up there. He's looking right at me. I think as I walk up, he'll probably fly off. So I'm gonna keep it on him. There he goes. Not a sound. It's straight up like Home Alone out here, dude. Look at these steps. I think I'm just gonna walk in the snow beside them. Like, I was trying to get my foot planted on that, and good luck. I mean, there's no traction whatsoever. Again, I can't tell if you can see how steep this is, but that is a steep little spot. You know how we should have always known that Bear Grylls was a fake? Because his hair always looked perfect. Not possible. This feels really good. It feels really good to be in town, and especially when you like hit these towns where, like, I'll pause for a second before I go in there. Like, I feel like when I've come through hiking towns, it's like the town is either one way or another way. One way is everyone's miserable and like they're angry and they don't seem happy. And then there's these towns where like everyone seems happy, and Hot Springs is one of those towns where everyone's happy. So I just feel really good finishing a 7-day hike and coming to a good town. It just feels good. Like, look how warm this place is. So I'm leaving Hot Springs in the night. Got the main drag behind me. What an amazing town. If you've ever seen the movie Big Fish, or if you haven't, you should watch it. But it reminds me of like the little towns the main character strolls through on his journey in life. These magical little southern towns. Just a place full of really good people and happy people. Something about this scene feels very dystopian. So, yeah, I've been through ultra cold, been through nonstop rain, been through snow, through frozen post holes, and now like a borderline damaged knee. Look at this dark pathway. I'm like leaving this beautiful town down this scary dark road. Theoretically, this next section of the trail is not supposed to be that bad, but I feel like it's got something for me. I feel it coming. I don't know what it's gonna be. Not sure what's worse than the things I've seen already. I just don't like the feeling. Anyway, wish me luck. So, yeah, I was just walking last night along this path along the river and saw this sweet little sandy spot, so I just cowboy camped here. No shelter. Right by the river, which normally is a bad idea, but I mean, it was fine. And I stayed warm. But the temperature definitely dropped last night a little bit, and then I don't see the blue sky anymore. I just checked the weather report, and it looks like rain might be coming, so. There's that. So I smelled smoke coming up over this ridge line, and there was a bunch of smoke visible in the mountains from Hot Springs, and no one knew what was going on, but you can see right behind me, that's where it was. So it's 2 o'clock now, and the update so far for the day is that the rain is back. And then I think going back to last night, I think I realized the new twist on making the trail harder is, you know, I've like dealt with rain in the past, and and I'm still dealing with like a twisted knee, but I haven't experienced combinations of these things yet. So I think that's the next level, is it rains on me and I'm hobbling on a twisted knee, just to make it, you know, even harder. Just taking a break before I hit the next shelter. I've got 2 more miles to go, all uphill, and it feels like the entire day today has been uphill. It's kind of a pattern I've been noticing, is like when you hit these towns, they tend to be right at the bottom gap, and a bottom gap between 2 large mountains. So when you come into them, you cruise right in quickly, but then when you leave town, it's usually something like a 6 or an 8 mile or more hike uphill. And so today is just I think it's like a 19-mile day. Make sure but it's been all uphill. and pretty much all in the brain so far. And still working out my limp. And it rained nearly all day yesterday, and I didn't get here until about 9 p.m. And so, anyway, I get to the shelter at 9. I come right around the corner here, come like walking along this way, right here. And then as I turn the corner, as I always do, I just sweep the shelter with my headlamp, expecting to see nobody, because I haven't met another thru hiker on trail in like 5 or 6 days. So like since the beginning of the Smokies. Anyway, I set my bag down. The guy doesn't even wake up until like 2 minutes after I'm there. And I think what woke him up was I have my dry bag, which has all my soft clothing in it, and I just kind of like tossed it onto the ground in the shelter. In my head, I was like, oh, it's full of like sleeping bags and shirts. It won't like smack onto the ground. But it did make kind of a little bit of a loud noise for what it was. And so then the guy just goes, huh! Like up. And then I'm like, oh, my bad. And then he's like, geez, man, like really kind of aggressively. And then mutters something kind of like, I'm sleeping over here, and then it just immediately just like fumes out a bad vibe in the air. And again, like, I'll admit guilt, like, when you come to these camps at night, you should be quiet, right? But it was a mistake. And so, anyway, I then proceed to unpack all of my stuff. And I kind of had to tear my bag apart because one of my new resupply items is this golden spoon down here. And I've been using a plastic fork this whole time because I didn't bring my metal spork with me. So I just got a new one. But because it was new and when I put it in the bag, I wasn't thinking like how I normally do, which is put everything in the same spot. And so I had everything ready to go to cook, and then I couldn't find my spoon, which is like, I'm going to be eating like boiling hot noodles. Like the only way to eat it is with a spoon. And so I proceeded to take like 30 minutes as quietly as I could, ruffling through everything in the dark with a little red light, trying to find my spoon. And then I eventually found it. I had set it on the ground right here, and I had run my mat over it. So it was like very hard to find based on the location that it's in. Anyway, I find it, cook my food. He keeps tossing and turning and just kind of like, and it's like, on the one hand, it is a little annoying when someone comes into a shelter late because they're going to make some noises. But on the other hand, it's not your trail, bro. It's our trail. We're all sharing this trail. And there's some people who come at night, and you need to be able to deal with that like an adult. Like, if you have a chronic issue where people making noises around you keeps you up, then it's your fault for not having earplugs. Like, you don't need to moan at me all night when in reality, you should just have earplugs right now. Like, this is a shelter made for what? Maybe it says 4 people. This shelter could fit 12 people. So in about a month, when there's 30 people rolling down this trail and you're nuts to butts all the way across this shelter, do you think someone's not going to be here at night, right? Coming at night? Like, no, that's going to happen every night. And so, it really just was this kind of like babyish, obnoxious behavior. And so at some point I started to get kind of annoyed with this guy. But I still was like, respectful, doing everything as quietly as I could. And so eventually, maybe around like 11, I'm in bed, tucked up, and I'm out. And then like around 1:00 p.m., I wake up to, hey man, like, kind of loud and aggressively, not like, hey man, to gently wake me up, which is what I would do if I needed to wake someone up. It's like, hey man, like really asserting like his position in the shelter. And I'm just like, I wake up, I'm like, oh, I was like, sorry, did you say something? And he's like, you're snoring. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, at this point, it's like, it's one of those transitions where you're asleep and you wake up and normally you'd be groggy. It's like, I was asleep and I woke up and I was like laser focused. I was just like, in my head, I was like, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with me snoring. So like, again, snoring is a thing that humans do. And you're in a shelter, which is made for humans, not you. It's made for all of us. And there's going to be nights where I'm surrounded by 6 people who are snoring. And like an adult, my options are, 1, I just bite my teeth and grit through it. 2, I stand up. And it was raining last night. And what you do is you pack all your stuff up, you walk out into that rain, and you pitch your tent, and you go to bed where you don't hear me snoring. And option 3 is you pack all your stuff up and hike down the trail and leave. Go to the next shelter. It's in 7.3 miles. That's where you go, okay? If you want to be in a shelter. And so, anyway, I just wake up. I don't even really remember what my response was. I was just like, oh, okay, you know, and I just went back to bed. I was just kind of like, thanks for informing me that I'm snoring, you know? Like, I couldn't, on the one hand, I do care when I'm bothering someone, but on the other hand, at this point, I couldn't care less. I mean, like, if you want to pick a fight with me, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where this is going, but I don't care anymore. And so anyway, I'm just over this guy. And so it's now maybe an hour later. And so what I've done is I've shifted to where I'm sleeping on my side vertically. And when I do that, it's less comfortable for me, especially putting weight on my knee, but I won't be snoring, right? Or I'm less likely to snore when I sleep that way. And so that's what I did. And then I wake up to like 30 minutes later, him packing all of his stuff up, but he's doing it. And again, I don't care, but he's doing it super loudly, kind of aggressively, just like bum, bum, zip, 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 bum, 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 you know, like kind of like, you're making me do this. And in my head, I'm like, I don't like, again, I care about this person, but like the way he's behaving is so self-centered, and so not in tune with the way the system works, you know, that I'm just kind of like, dude, feel free to pack up as loudly as you need to. I'm going to go back to bed. Again, this is all just set in my head. And then he disappeared. And so I don't know where he went or what he did. I'm assuming he went just a little further down the trail and camped. And I'll probably catch this guy at some point today or tomorrow. Probably today, unless he camps out in a shelter somewhere. And so anyway, then I woke up a little bit later and here I am. So anyway, I figured I'd tell that story. I don't know. I just thought it was a little interesting. And it was the first moment on trail where I kind of got a little, you know, was a little pissed off. And so, no big deal. And I think it, you know, in the moment, it's like, okay, I'm pissed off. But then I had an immediate sense of calmness because I just assessed like, okay, what can I do to make this better? I'm going to do everything that I can, but there's nothing more I can do beyond that. And then he continued to be in every interaction aggressive. And I just started to realize like, okay, this guy's just kind of an unreasonable person. Although I do feel for him in his inability to sleep tonight, because I know that sucks out here. And so anyway, just a story for the night. And just a heads up to people, if you're coming out to these shelters, you're going to be sleeping at some point once you hit the bubble with like, it'll be lined wall to wall. It'll be hard to find sometimes shelters that are empty. And so you have to be prepared to be around noises of people coming in, people snoring. And that means if you're a very sensitive sleeper, then it's on you to bring earplugs. So bring earplugs. And also when you come in late at night, be as quiet as you can. That's part of it too, right? And so anyway, that was a long rant, but I had to get that out of my system. So I'm here in this wooden lean-to. It rained all day yesterday. I cut it short because I wanted to try something new this morning. I cut my hiking yesterday short because I wanted to get to bed by 8, which I succeeded at. And I set my alarm on vibrate for 4 a.m. So I woke up at 4. And I just kind of took 5 minutes just to soak in the experience because it's so nice right now. The contrast of kind of the hell of walking through rain for 12 hours all day, kind of cold and just physically and mentally exhausted,
and worn down. That was the experience yesterday. If you contrast that with switching out of your wet clothes into your dry clothes, eating a pretty good meal, and going to bed, and then you wake up in the morning and you're totally dry, and my sleeping bag is amazing. I'm totally warm. And you wake up to the sound, which you can, I think, hear behind me, of just rain falling out front of the cabin, rain falling on top of the cabin. And you can actually hear through a crack in the back of the lean-to the rain falling out behind the cabin. So just the beautiful sound of the pitter-patter of rain falling. So for the first 5 minutes, I just kind of lied there and I soaked in that experience. And then I had a little bit of water left over in one of my jugs, so I filled it up, brought it to boil. Once it was boiling, I put my coffee in and let it sit without the lid so that it would cool off for 5 minutes. And then I woke up, and here I am recording this. So next steps are, it's like 4:35 a.m. now. And then I'm going to have to transition from this warm comfort over the next 30 minutes to putting my wet clothes on and walking out into that. You can't see it, but I can. Walking out into that sound of rain. I mean, I've been hiking hard, and I've been hiking through this limp. It's like there's smells on the trail that I can't convey to you. There's feelings in my body that I can't convey to you, and the pain of that left knee. It's like walking into a headwind or something. You know, it's been a real difficulty, but it's starting to get better now. A week later, but the point being, like, I have not been hitting the mileage that I've been wanting to, but at the same time, I've been pushing through the pain of that knee. And so I think I can't get too bogged down on the mileage. At the same time, I should be proud of the fact that with that twisted knee, I've still gone, I don't know, something like 60 or 80 miles on it. And I haven't damaged it any further. It's just been getting better day by day, and I think it's been getting better more slowly than it would if I could have just rested on my back. But when it's all said and done, if there were two different approaches, one being to lie on my back for a week and the other being to continue down the trail but at a slower pace, I think we're going to see that I'm going to be about 100 miles down the trail with a fixed knee after a week versus having gone 0 miles sitting in some hostel. So far, I'm pretty sure I've made the right call on that. But anyway, yeah, it's just been, I can, not like beating myself up, but just like a sense, just not a deep sense of satisfaction when I've been going to bed at night, because I've only been doing, like, yesterday I did 16 miles, which is, like, for me, feels like kind of like nothing. And then the day before that, 18. I took a 0 the day before that. Day before that, I did, I don't remember, like 15 miles. Before that, maybe like 20. And then day before that, maybe like 19 or 20. So I'm just showing you my averages have dropped down from like where I was going before, around like, I don't know, 22 a day. So anyway, part of my hope here is that by waking up at 4, having kind of a relaxing morning into 5 a.m., that I could then sustain hiking from 5 a.m. all the way to like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or even 7 p.m. 7 p.m. would be the very last light where you would need a headlamp. So I could get in 12 to 14 hours at a maybe more casual pace of hiking. It might make it easier to get bigger miles in, is what I'm hoping. And anyway, that's where I'm at, trying the new morning routine, which is something I've never done before, and hoping that maybe changes the experience of the day. So I think I'll report back tonight on what that experience is like. So I'm hoping things go better today.
So a couple of updates on the day. I'm right now at mile 20, and my left knee is actually feeling pretty good today. So I think I'm gonna keep pushing. There's another shelter in like 1 mile, and then a campground in 5 miles, and then there's another lean-to in 10 miles. And I'm thinking I'm gonna try and push to that further lean-to, which would make it a almost 30-mile day, a 29.5-mile day. But I was excited to come down the backside of this mountain and catch the downhill because it didn't look like it was super steep. But the entire downhill is just, the whole trail's mud. So I keep slipping like every 20 steps. I'll show you what it looks like dealing with it. And that was the perfect example. So something I'll never understand in my life is like, this looks like it's a manicured trail because there's no way that it would form naturally that way. Like, it's the exact width of 2 human feet. So like the only way to do it is to shuffle through like an Oompa Loompa, and then your feet pick up on the outer lip of the trail. And so it just turns your ankles inwards. So like, I'm pretty sure this kind of trail, whenever you hit it, it's made by someone who's never hiked in their life. Just keep filming myself because it's gonna keep happening. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy shit. I'm still falling. Oh my god, I'm still sliding. Oh my god, no. Oh. Look at that streak. That's where my foot started. It slid all the way. Oh my god. Oh, I'm just covered in mud. Oh my god. Literally the camera turned off mid-fall. Oh my god. And then like, this is one of those falls that's so severe I've got to unbuckle. Oh my god. I'm just gonna slip again. Oh. Dude, I literally got that on film. Oh my god, that was my hardest fall of the day and I filmed it. Oh my god. I'm gonna film. Oh my god. Oh, my knee. Oh my god. There's no traction. Yeah. Dirt is not a trail. I can see about like 10 feet in this fog. So I spent the night at the No Business Knob shelter, and it has this cool graffiti board on the wall, and it hasn't been pulled down since 2023. So that's basically every thru hiker that stayed here over the course of the last year. So I took a photo just for my own sake, just because it's fun to see all the different trail names on it. It's pretty cool. Hello. Hey. Already fixed the hair. Wow, it looks so much better now. Things are relative. So I'm walking to Uncle Johnny's now, which is a hostel in Irwin. It's like 50 feet in front of me. Kind of a quick recap. I got this beautiful river over here. Maybe let's go look at it. You can see Uncle Johnny's behind me back there. I have no idea what river this is, but it looks slightly flooded. You can see trees in it. Kind of the intention with yesterday was to really put my foot to the gas pedal to see kind of what I'm capable of. And then once I got above about 22 miles, to check in with my body to see how the pain escalated from there so that I could get a sense of what it is that I'm capable of. And so what I'm saying is 24 miles per day is right around my working limit of where I can get to comfortably. And so what I'm thinking is if I shoot for like 22 to 24 miles per day going forward, that'll be like me really going to the gym and doing my reps where I'm right at the weight limit that my body is capable of. So I'm in this at Uncle Johnny's hostel, and I'm not sure if the microphone can pick it up, but the noise you hear out right now in the background is the hardest rain that I have heard since I've been hiking the trail. And so I got here today, and there's a shelter about 4 miles down the trail that I was thinking about hiking to tonight. And I would have been out there in this right now. And I would be arriving at the shelter kind of now, but it's been raining like this for kind of off and on for the last 2 hours, and it wasn't in the forecast. And instead I'm sitting inside in this wooden hut with a fire going. Oh my God, it feels so good. I'm like, oh my God, it feels so good. There's nobody else here. It's this room with like 12 bunk beds. Or I don't know, like 6 bunk beds. And I'm the only one here. Oh my God, it feels so good. There's just something about sitting inside and shelter during a rainstorm with a fire. And that sound. And I intimately know what it feels like to walk in that in the last 2 weeks. And to be here, warm and tucked up, not outside in that. I can't describe how nice this feels right now. Oh my gosh. I have like chills, like goosebumps. I think I'm gonna stop recording and just kind of enjoy this experience. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Just heard a loud gunshot right over the hill. I'm wondering if there'll be a second one. You probably cannot hear anything I'm saying right now. Or, I don't know, it feels that way. The wind chill is really bad up here. I'm just it's just getting colder and colder as I'm coming up. And just kind of ice on the ground. I think all that rain that hit yesterday in Irwin dumped up here and then turned to snow, so it's kind of like a layer of ice with snow on top. But I think I'm gonna, I mean, look at this. It's kind of a completely different world up here from where I was earlier today. But I think I'm going to crest this mountaintop and then come back down on the other side, and hopefully I'll get out of this snow, but we'll see. So it's actually a lot darker right now than what the camera is showing. The camera's really making it a lot brighter, but it's kind of hard to follow the trail because there's enough snow that it's covered it. There's no footprints. And it's like, is it that way or this way? I think it's this way. I'm not lost, I'm just not sure. Okay, it's this way. Got a white blaze. Kind of pretty. So I don't know the name of this mountain, and I've been hiking it all day, kind of in a bad mood, but I'm feeling good now that I'm close to the top. It's funny how that works. But there is a stunning sunset happening behind the trees out there. Well, it's just this radiant orange color. Man, it's pretty. And so then like the light is coming through the trees right now, and it's just lighting up the ground orange. I feel like this is kind of a big mountain. I'm gonna look up the name of the mountain because, like, man, it's felt like I've been climbing this thing for 2 freaking days. And so I'm gonna be sleeping at the shelter right here at the top of the mountain, but it's called the Roan Knob Shelter. And I was looking on Far Out, and apparently that's the highest elevation shelter on the entire Appalachian Trail, which sounds really cool. But I've learned from experience, the higher you are up in the winter, the more likely there is to be obviously snow, and the colder the nights are. But so far nothing I've encountered comes anywhere near close to how bad Maine was, so I think I'm probably pretty well prepared for it. So this trail's getting worse and worse coming up to the top. It's just solid ice. I mean, it's not entirely ice, but it's, I don't know, 50% of it is ice like this, and so I keep losing my footing on it. And it's definitely causing some pain to my left knee. Look at this section. This is stairs going up. If I just put it at a slight angle now, the way you might do it, slips right off. See that? Just ate it hard right here. Oh man. I'm surprised that was my first real major fall. Really struggling to get back up from this ice. It's so bad. Like, I'm fine, but just the traction is so terrible that it's like an actual challenge to stand up right now. This though. So I think I'm gonna dig in my bag and get the microspikes out, which is really annoying. So I just made it to the shelter, and it's actually pretty nice. I'll show you. So first off, it has a door, 4 walls, and then it's got this cool ladder and an upstairs attic. So I think I'm going to be sleeping up there tonight. So I woke up and it was 20 degrees Fahrenheit in that shelter. It took me a little while to pack up and get out, but I'm out and moving. And now I'm brushing shoulders with all these basically Christmas trees ladled up in snow. It's really pretty. Yeah, I feel like the last couple of days has just been a lot of the same stuff over and over, just like up and down hills, you know, trees everywhere, and none of them are green, so it's felt honestly kind of monotonous. And I think I was saying yesterday in the video, I was just kind of in a bad mood. Yeah, I think like because my knee is sore because I'm not quite hitting the miles that I want to be, but I'm not going to push myself to the point of injury. And also because it was just 2 straight days uphill. And the second day uphill, for whatever reason, caught me off guard. Like, I thought it wasn't going to be as bad as it was, and as I looked more and more at the map, I was like, oh crap, this is worse than yesterday. And yeah, I was just kind of like contemplating the trail, and it's like, I feel like the Appalachian Trail, a big part of what makes it so special is probably the community that exists on the trail. Because each of these hostels that I stay at, I'm just in and out quickly. You can feel like a heart and soul to them, you know, and it's got all these bunk beds, but it's always just me by myself. And it's not that I'm like lonely that's the problem. It's just like, you know, with all of these trails seemingly being like mostly trees and the vistas being rare, I would say, like compared to the Arizona Trail, it was like wide open, and then up, like it would be like 2 or 3 days of relatively flat ground, and then like 2 or 3 days of like going up just giant sanity cracking mountains. Whereas with the Appalachian Trail, it's like none of the mountains are anywhere near as, at least so far, have been anywhere near as big as the ones on the Arizona Trail. But they're all about 1/3 of the size, I think, or half the size. But they're never ending. Like there's never been a flat point on this entire trail. I think there's been, let me not exaggerate, like I'm right around 400 miles, and there's maybe been, I don't know, like 50 miles. Even that feels high. I don't think there's been 50 miles of flat spots, and they're really brief. When they happen. So it's just like, especially in the last like week or so with my knee, going uphill feels better than going downhill because I can at least control my knee. Going downhill, like, it feels like, you know, if you're in gym class and you have to do like the 1 mile run, but then imagine there's some like prick kid behind you who's just like shoving you the whole way, right? Like going down these downhills, especially with my knee, gravity is that prick just going, go faster, and I'm just pumping the brakes as I'm going down. But that act of pumping the brakes puts a lot of stress on my ankles and my knees, and really by the end of the day, around mile 18, my left knee just feels like it has a headache, and it's just so hard to continue on it. And again, it's getting better and better every day, but it's still holding me back. And so, yeah, it's just like, it just felt kind of pretty frustrating. But all that being said, I'm still 100% mentally committed. It's just been kind of like, sure seems like the thing that makes the Appalachian Trail fun is more like the community and the people, because everyone I've met so far is just so funny and cool, you know? Like, I haven't met any thru hiker on trail in, I'm just guessing, like 9 days, maybe 10 days, 9 days. 0 other thru hikers. And so, but that's what I signed up for. I'm doing this in winter. I'm going for the calendar year Triple Crown. Like, that's part of what makes this even harder. Yeah, it's just kind of been like hiking through tree tunnels for days on end, up and down hills that never end. The hills, and they're not even that bad of hills. They just never stop. They never stop. And it's like, okay, uphill, uphill, uphill. And you're like, finally, now downhill. But the downhill is steep in a way that's like, it really aggravates the knee. And so it's like there's no relief, because it's like you're mentally pushing yourself to make it uphill. And then finally, when I get what should be a break going downhill, it's just like that, you know, prick in the mile run, just go faster. And, you know, putting all that stress on my knee. And so it's like, it feels like there's never really a break. Because there literally hasn't been, other than like, you know, the nice days I've had in hostels. But like I said, all that being what it is, I'm still very mentally committed to this. It's just like, it's hard when sometimes it's just not fun. Because, I mean, just being honest, it hasn't really been fun the last couple of days. But this is fun right now. I love this forest and the snow. And I'm still walking on a river of ice. But I've learned that the micro spikes change everything, so I'm just cruising down on these micro spikes. But even the micro spikes take a toll on your feet. All that pressure goes to like 10 spiked tips instead of spread all over your bottom of your foot. But anyway, I hope today goes better than the last, I don't know, week. The last week has just honestly sucked since I twisted my knee. Just got worse. I'm assuming there was ice here before, but it's just straight mud sliding all the way down this hill. Hoping this clears up. But that's the new thing, is wet mud. Oh my god. Alright. One thing that I'm happy about right now though is that in this section of the hike for the last couple miles there have been no trees around me and the views are stunning. So that's one silver lining. Check this out.